Beaver. Class rules. What do our class rules do? Ruth?
Wait, can you say that again?
What do our class rules do for us? What do they help us to do in the classroom? They keep us safe. Just like the Bill of Rights, which we're going to learn about today, and keep us safe. But first of all, I want you to focus on this question, and we're going to get back to it at the end of the lesson. The question is, how does the Bill of Rights support the idea of individual liberty? Thank you. We're going to discuss this at the end, so focus on the PowerPoint. Extra one.
Yes, so are we going to watch a video for the Constitution?
On the Bill of Rights, yes, we're going to write it and we're going to have a quiz. Okay. The Constitution of the United States of America. What is it? It outlines the rules of our country and it lists our rights, like the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments. There are like 27 amendments, but today we're just going to go into the 10 amendments. James Madison, he sponsored the Bill of Rights, and he later became the fourth president.
We need Alex for speech.
Okay. James Madison, he was concerned for religious freedom, he was concerned for intellectual freedom, he guaranteed our civil liberties and our civil rights, and he safeguarded our individual liberties. Okay, the First Amendment is you can say what you want and believe any religion you want. The government can't put you in jail for any of these things. You have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, and freedom of assembly. So you can be any religion you want, you can say what you want, and not go to jail or get in trouble for it. You say what you want, your opinions can't be. Right. The Second Amendment. Citizens have the right to a militia and to keep and bear arms. This is where you're allowed to keep arms, which is a big issue right now with guns at the moment in the news. The Third Amendment. Government cannot take weapons away from people. It also prevents the government from housing soldiers in your home in peacetime and wartime without your permission. You're a soldier. The Fifth Amendment, no reasonable search and seizure, and today that means that police must have a warrant to search your home. They can't just walk into your home without a warrant to check. So if you rob the bank, you better move your money before they get a warrant to come to your house. Okay? Okay, the next amendment is people have the right to due process, right to not self-incriminate themselves, and the right to not be tried twice for the same crime. So you have this jury up here, going in and going out. Next amendment is speedy trial, fair trial, public trials, impartial jury, and a right to an attorney in a criminal trial. Judge with his hammer. Okay. We also have a right to a jury trial in all non-criminal cases and prohibits retrial in any case already decided. So if your case is already done, you can't be retried for the same thing. Okay, the next amendment is excessive bail shall not be required. Excessive fines shall not be imposed, and there should be no cruel or unusual punishments is allowed. You can't go to jail for like speeding. Like you just get a nice big ticket. Okay. The next amendment is Next amendment is powers not delegated to the federal government by the Constitution nor prohibited to the states by it are reserved to the states, to the people. Now we're going to watch a video on Graham Puff, and Moby and Judy are going to take us through the Bill of Rights. And after this,
You're done?
we have a
Well,
quiz,
that's
so
it.
pay attention.
Sorry, I watched
You can't say that at my birthday party. Well, yeah, sure, I know all about freedom of speech, but you can't say that. Dear Tim and Moby, what is the Bill of Rights? From Noddy. when the U.S. Constitution was written, it was missing a few things. Well, that's the great thing about the Constitution. It's amendable or changeable. We've added to it over time. The first editions came shortly after the Constitution was drafted. The Constitution couldn't take effect until it was ratified or approved by individual states. Problem was, certain states didn't want to ratify the Constitution because they didn't think it protected the rights of every citizen. So, the framers of the Constitution promised that a section would be attached to the final version, ensuring citizen protections. 12 amendments to the Constitution, written by James Madison, were presented to the states for final approval. 10 of the 12 were approved. We call these first 10 amendments to the Constitution the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment is a really major one. It says that Congress can't make any laws that mess with freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, or freedom to petition the government. These freedoms are really important to all Americans. They're what allow us to speak our minds and act in ways that make sense for us. The Second Amendment says that Americans have the right to bear arms. Yeah, it sounds a little scary, but the idea is that the citizens should have the right to protect themselves and their country. You can learn a little more about it in our Guns movie. The Third Amendment has to do with quartering soldiers. It says that people don't have to allow soldiers to stay in their homes during times of peace. It may seem a little random now, but it was important at the time it was written, because that was a real issue for people. I mean, imagine if you had strangers coming and staying in your house any old night. The Fourth Amendment is about search and seizure. It says that no one can come into your home and look around or take stuff from you without a warrant and a very good reason. Yeah, you can't go snooping around in my room without my permission. And when it comes to the law, police can't enter a suspect's house without permission or a warrant. The Fifth Amendment deals with the rights of the accused. If a person is accused of a crime, they have the right to due process. They're innocent until proven guilty, and they don't have to answer any questions that might incriminate them or act as a witness in their own trial. The Sixth Amendment says that people have the right to a speedy public trial. An accused person has the right to have a lawyer, to understand the charges being brought against him or her, and to be tried in public by a jury of their peers. The Seventh Amendment describes people's right to a trial by jury in civil cases. No, see, Amendment 6 was talking about criminal cases. This is for a civil case, like a dispute in business or a noise complaint. The Eighth Amendment describes limits on fines and punishments. The government can't fine someone an amount that's unreasonable or punish him or her excessively. No, I actually think you deserve detention for the spitball incident. The Ninth Amendment is about the rights of the people. It says that even if a particular right is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution, it doesn't mean you don't still have it. Yeah, that way every single thing doesn't have to be spelled out. If one of your natural rights was never mentioned in either the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, it doesn't mean it can be taken away or watered down. You can still have that right. Finally, the 10th Amendment lays out the powers of the states and the people. It just says that any powers not specifically given to the states by the Constitution or prohibited by the Constitution are reserved for the states. So the Constitution gives certain powers to the United States as a country and prohibits the individual states from having certain powers. The powers that are left over go to the individual states. Many major Supreme Court cases deal with issues presented in the Bill of Rights and how they are interpreted. Sometimes there are some gray areas, room for interpretation, and that's the job of the judicial branch. Other amendments beyond the original 10 have been passed, outlawing slavery, not restricting the right to vote based on color or gender, limiting the number of terms a president can serve, banning alcohol, and then unbanning it. The Bill of Rights, along with the Constitution, helps not only define our laws, but also who we are as a people. Hey, what you got there? You're asking the Supreme Court about your right to say whatever you want in my birthday speech?
Okay, now we're going to take the quiz. Okay. The first question is, which of these is an option, as an opinion about the First Amendment? A, it guarantees freedom of religion. B, without it people might not be allowed to petition the government. C, it is the most important amendment in the Bill of Rights. D, it guarantees freedom of the press. Yeah. See, very good.
It's a clip on the answer.
Okay. Question 2. In the sentence, the Bill of Rights was addended to the Constitution in 1791. What does addended mean? William, do you want to come up and press this? Very good. Okay. Question 3. How are the Fifth and Sixth Amendments similar? A, they both deal with property rights. B, they both deal with gun rights and the right of the military. C, they both deal with free speech. D, they both deal with the rights of defendants in court cases.
So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to throw that out and go and sit down at your desk.
Very good. Question 4. What might happen if the Second Amendment didn't exist? A, people might not be allowed to own guns. B, people might be forced to have soldiers in their homes. C, people